Coming up, the 5 most common deathbed regrets. Don't get caught up with regrets on your deathbed. Hey everybody, it's Kalymnios here from thethoughtgym.com. I hope you had a fantastic and amazing Christmas. It's a couple of days now after Christmas. I'm sure you're well fed, well partied out and resting before the new year comes upon us. And New Year is a time when a lot of people tend to look about goals and resolutions and making changes. And so I wanted to share with you something quite interesting that was in a newspaper article many years ago now, but it's still relevant today. And that is this: the 5 most common deathbed regrets that people nearing the end of their life had. This was compiled by a lady called Bronnie Ware from Australia, and she worked with those people who were near the end of their lives and actually wrote a book about the common regrets that they faced. And I wanted to share with you what the 5 most common regrets were, because if you're watching this now, you've still got time to do something about it. And at this time of year, people reflect a lot, myself included, and this just serves as a reminder for me as much as it does for you about perhaps what's important to us in life, because we're not all that different after all. And if these are 5 common regrets for all the dozens and dozens, if not hundreds of people she spoke to and interviewed, I think it might relate to us as well. Okay, so are you ready? The most common regret that people said was that they had wished that they had the courage to live the life that they wanted to live. Not that life that they thought others had an expectation of them to live. How many times is this happening to you maybe, where you're living a life where you are doing something that you expect other people think that you should be doing? I know that was true for me when it came to a lot of things, and this is unsaid as well a lot of the time. It's not that another person has said to me, you should be doing this or you should do that. That was never actually mentioned as much, but I still got this feeling that I was supposed to be doing something else in terms of living up to someone else's expectations. And now I'm on a path which is more in tune with my authentic self and doing what I want to do. So now I want you to think about what you really want to do. Have the courage to live the kind of life that you're here to live. For all we know, we only get one life. This might be our only shot at things. It's not a dress rehearsal, so go out there and make this next year best year of your life and live the life that you want to live. Okay, regret number 2 was this: I wish I hadn't worked as hard. There aren't that many people on their deathbed who say that they'd wish they'd spent more time at work. Most, or a lot of people, tend to reflect and wish they'd spent more time with family and loved ones, that they hadn't missed their children growing up. I might be guilty of this to some degree. Some people on the outside looking in at me think that I work really hard, and I've got to say, I don't know that I do. It certainly may come across that way, and I probably do compared to a lot of other people, but I have a lot of time where I'm not necessarily working. And that may have even been my downfall when I was working in the corporate world, because I was never really vested to kind of go super all out, because it wasn't really my baby, it wasn't really my thing. I didn't want to spend all that time at work, and I had a realization early on that the most important thing to me was my health and my relationships and my family, and not being at work. Maybe I've seen too many movies where the main protagonist reflects on his life and comes to the same conclusion, and I probably took it to heart. But that was number 2 for most people, not spending so much time at work and working so hard. Okay, number 3 was this: they had wished that they had the courage to express their feelings, how they really felt about things. It's a really weird regret, isn't it? It's not like anyone is coming on saying, oh, I wish I'd bought that boat, or I wish I'd had that fancy watch. They're saying they wish they'd expressed their feelings more. This is something that I'm continually learning to do. People feel I'm quite open, I'm open on camera, and that's because it's part of my journey of expressing my feelings that little bit more. I remember in previous relationships way back when I wasn't expressing my feelings as much, and even now I feel as though there's a long way still to go, but I'm definitely getting better. I don't want to hold all this stuff inside of me, because it's really detrimental to not just your regrets later on in life, but your health right now. So have the courage to express how you really feel and wear your emotions. You know, Gazza wore his emotions on his sleeve in the 1990 World Cup, for anyone that was around back then when they got knocked out, when England got knocked out of Italia 90. he cried in front of the nation, and it kind of gave permission to all men to cry. I'm sure that was like a turning point in the UK male population's history, but I want you to follow Gaz's lead and look at expressing your emotions. It doesn't mean going around crying every 5 minutes, but it means just being honest and saying how you really feel. Okay, number 4 is this. They had wished they'd stayed in touch more with their friends. This happens all the time. I'm seeing it now personally. People are getting to a certain age, they get married, they have kids, and it is immensely hard to stay in touch with people because kids, as much as you love them, they take up a lot of your time, a lot of your resources, a lot of your energy. But it's important to remember that you've got to stay in touch with friends. Now we can do it a little bit easier with things like Facebook and everything, but it's not the same as having a conversation, meeting up with someone and doing something together. Even if it's chilling out watching a movie, like I'll probably be doing later tonight with a mate that I've not seen for months, but it's really important that I stay connected with the people that are important to me in my life. And as we get older, it's going to be even more difficult. I've got one friend and his parents are friends with all the people that they came to England with all these years later, and they have a thriving friendship. They go on holidays together and I've no idea how they've done it. And it's quite sad because I see within our circle, which are the kids of that, we love each other and stuff, but we seem to be drifting a bit further apart as time marches on. And it's something I've been very conscious of all my life, maintaining certain friendships, because I've recognised that friendships are so important, as important as family, I think. So maintain those friendships and look at who you can maybe reconnect with this new year, that you haven't maybe connected with for a long time. And number 5 was that they had wished that they had let themselves be happier. That might be confusing to you, but what was said in this research was that they had realised too late that happiness was a choice. You might be sitting there now thinking, what are you talking about? Happiness isn't a choice. My emotions, my feelings are just there. They come to me like this. That's not actually true. You can choose to be happy at any given moment in time. In fact, there are 3 things that dictate your mood, your state, your emotions really. And I'm going to link a video up here now that you can watch about that. But when I realised that how I felt was a choice and that I could choose to be happy, it was so liberating. That means that in any given circumstance, you can have that choice of whether you want to wallow in self-pity, whether you want to be action-orientated, whether you want to be happy, whatever it might be. Find out the things that make you happy as well. Because it's all well and good saying, okay, it's a choice and doing it, but also you've got to understand what are the things that really light your fire and start doing more of those. Understand that happiness is a choice and choose to be happier more of the time. We're not going to be happy all day, every day, that's sure, that's a given. But take heed in these words. They realised far too late that happiness was a choice, and they realised far too late that they had wished they'd spent longer happier. Okay, so that was the 5. Courage to live the life they wanted, not spent as long at work. Courage to express emotions, spend more time with friends, and then choose to be happier more often. How is knowing this going to shape your year ahead? Reflecting back on the year gone. That is gone, whether it was good or bad. I mean, I personally have had a bit of a tumultuous year of many ups and downs, but I've chosen to move forward and move on in a different way, and I think you have to as well. Whether it was good or bad, it can get better, much better, and you can have a large part to play in that. Okay, that is it. We are done for this year. I started this YouTube channel way back when, I think in 2010, but I only really started doing these weekly videos just over 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, and another year has come to a close. That's 2015 almost having been wrapped up. So right now, the one thing that I want to encourage you to do is naturally subscribe to my channel, but take heed in these messages. See how 2016 is going to be so much more amazing for you. Don't get to the end of your life with those 5 regrets or any regrets. In fact, just go for it. Go for broke. Do whatever you need to do so that you can live the life that you want to live on your terms and no one else's. Until I speak to you in 2016, I want to wish you again a very merry festive period and an amazing and happy new year. Until 2016, bye bye.